In this video, we have collected 3 first-person stories of nurses. These are not fictional accounts, but real experiences filled with tension, dedication, and humanity. Each story offers a unique perspective on a profession that requires not only knowledge, but also a big heart. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This is a truth you deserve to hear before you start. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because that won't help you. Nursing is not for everyone. It's a demanding job, and if you don't have a supportive team behind you and management that encourages a good work-life balance, it can become a draining career. So many nurses experience the sunk cost fallacy. I worked this hard to get here, I might as well stay, when they should have moved wards, jobs, or just left the profession. Here's a few tips to avoid leaving nursing in the first few years. Nursing is not an identity or personality trait. The young, fresh-faced nurses that come through and lean into the idea that they were born to be nurses, that it's the only possible calling and that it's who they are the ones that can easily be taken advantage of. The family culture of nursing can be amazing to support you, but it can also be used to guilt you into staying late or taking shifts you can't do. Nursing is a job. It can be a great job, but it's still a means to support yourself. It's not something to weave into your entire life at the expense of your time, your health, or your relationships. This is a 24/7 profession, mostly in reference to hospitals' facilities. When you arrive on the ward, nurses have been there for an entire shift before you. When you leave your shift, there will be nurses to take over for you. There will never be enough minutes or hours to do every last thing that needs to get done, and that is okay. You need to be all right with handing over what is unfinished. I've seen so many new nurses run themselves into the ground because they thought they had to do it all. You care for your patients, not about them. I know this sounds a little insensitive at first, but it's crucial. You will meet some amazing patients. Some of them you may even get attached to, and that's okay. But be very careful. When you work as a nurse for years, you end up seeing all manner of sad and horrible things. You see people experience their worst moments. You see pain, suffering, fear, and loss. These feelings are so strong and heavy that if you hold on to them, they will eventually flatten your emotional tether. Your patient needs a clinician first and foremost. Whatever friendship you can offer them after that is admirable, but by no means owed. Even the most experienced nurses grapple with this, and it's something to keep in the back of your mind at all times. Don't settle for safe and familiar. If you got into nursing because you want to help people, that's fantastic. But remember, there are hundreds of ways to help people as a nurse. Don't get stuck on a ward you hate, doing work you despise with a team that don't support you, just because you think it's the only way to be in the profession. You may have to endure a difficult job for your grad year, and that's common. After that, go where you want. Try different things. Find what makes you tick. Too many skilled and passionate nurses get stuck in areas that they dislike because it's where they started. Please don't stay somewhere just because you trained there. Your career belongs to you. Loyalty to specific hospitals or wards can be dangerous if you can't see that you are being treated as another body that they throw into the meat grinder. You'll stay thinking it's an opportunity when it's actually just a sinkhole for your mental and physical health. Keep an eye out for the difference. Your preceptors, educators are not always right. There are some incredibly skilled and supportive educators out there. There are also some nursing students who need more help and attention as they are not at the right level yet. But this is not always the case. I had the misfortune of being under one particular educator that took it upon themselves to make students feel inadequate at every turn, made us feel anxious, unworthy, and unsupported. This can make you want to leave the profession after a single shift. It can be only after you have a mentor that shows patience, empathy, and support that you first realize you can totally kill it at this job. Don't let anyone let you feel like you can't learn. There are so many different techniques, learning styles, and approaches to become skilled at something. Don't let some jaded and impatient person who forgets what it felt like to be a student make you feel like less. Trust yourself first and foremost and constantly strive to improve. Don't lift patience. No, even once. It's on posters. It's in the training. It's forced down our throats. They say it all the time and you read it everywhere. Use the correct equipment. Follow the proper technique. They are right. I'm going to say it again so you understand. They are fucking right. It can take one nurse in a rush asking you to shift someone, one confused patient, that you stop from climbing, falling out of bed. One awkward situation where you reacted instead of thought. Your job is not worth your health. This comes from a person who has a chronic neck injury from nursing. It took one time, one instance. I wake up in pain and I got to sleep in pain because a senior nurse said, "Nah, just grab under his shoulder, it'll only take a second," instead of getting a slide sheet. Never risk it. Stand your ground. You may even get some nurses roll their eyes or huff and puff. Fuck them. Always be safe and careful. Don't be afraid to move on. This is last because it is something that not everyone agrees with, but personally, I think it belongs here. You may complete years of training, be in debt, have all your family and friends behind your career choice, and still find that you want to leave the profession. That's okay. This job is not for everyone. It can take more than it gives. It can put strain on your social life and relationships. It can destroy your mental and physical health. Nursing can be a career that lifts you up, gives you meaning, purpose, and joy. It can also chew you up and spit you out. If you have that voice in your head telling you that this isn't what you want, that you aren't happy, if you dread every shift and go home too exhausted to live life outside of the hospital, leave. Maybe you just need a change of scenery, a new ward or hospital. Fair enough. But please don't be in denial over the possibility that nursing may not be for you. There is no shame in choosing what's best for you. Some people thrive in nursing. Some people only survive. Nursing can be a thankless, penniless, uphill battle. Don't just end up another cog that slowly wears down and gets replaced. Find what you love, what you want to do, and go for it. And if that's not nursing, be prepared to walk away from it. To all past, present, and future nurses, be proud of what you have sacrificed to do this job. It's not easy, and the truth is, you don't know that until you figure it out for yourself. Life is too short to pursue a career that you don't like. It's hard to let go of what you know, but I truly believe that it's much worse to settle for something that doesn't suit you in the long run. For me, college is just another 3 or 4 years. Time will pass anyway. I want to thank everyone who reads these lines and finds their calling in nursing. You are truly inspiring, and the reason people like me are alive today. It's a cliché, and we've all heard it a million times, but I'll repeat it one more time. You save lives. Yes, even by wiping cigarette butts. Thank you. 3. When I became a registered nurse, I already had an idea of the far from idyllic reality that the healthcare system is. In nursing school, there was a wonderful way to teach us this gradually, over the course of semesters. At the very beginning, our teachers told us touching stories about how all the nurses changed the lives of their patients for the better. There was a brief reminder. Remember, you are not here for the money. But of course not, at least not for me. No, I was going to save lives and change the world for the better. The nursing school was ruthless. We rolled up our pants so our teachers could make sure our socks were white. All the exam questions were chosen correctly, but only one was the most correct. A score below 75 was considered unsatisfactory. Any absence from classes was of great importance. Needless to say, there was constant anxiety in the classroom. We were joking about how we would like to throw ourselves off the roof of the nursing building. During the hardest days, when I was immersed in my studies and couldn't take the time to reflect on what I witnessed at the clinic that day, I wondered why I didn't do it. With each semester, we became more familiar with the real world. Once at the clinic, a teacher advised me to always lie and say that we were married and had 3 children when the patient asked if we were married. I was naive. It sounded silly at the time. Why are they asking about this? Pretty soon I had to tell the patient that I was married and had 3 children. At the end of nursing school, we had a whole class dedicated to how grumpy patients can be. That's how they should be. After all, nurses should never make mistakes. What if patients hurt us? We are taught to report this. And yet, one way or another, it's still our fault. When I graduated from high school and started my career in the emergency department, I was still determined to make a difference. I thought it was worse at nursing school. I've saved lives on my best shifts. Most of the patients left work without getting answers to their questions, or they were transferred to a floor with even worse service, or they were dying. No matter what, I tried to make it a priority to be a shoulder to lean on. I held my patients' hands. I always brought 2 warm blankets instead of 1. I've always tried to think about the little things. Even if I had 3 critically ill patients, I still tried my best not to forget the turkey sandwich that the least critical patient wanted. I did my best to think of everyone as a family member. I knew it hurt, but the alternative was to see them as work and ultimately not as people. For every good experience I've had, I've experienced a few more terrible things. I once helped turn over a body to provide post-mortem care, and my shoes were covered in their blood. In fact, I was covered in all kinds of body fluids. They scratched me, they spat at me, they threw things at me. I was being groped. One of my patients threatened to kill me. I was crying in the pantry. I had nightmares. And in my dream, I had hallucinations associated with the constant beeping of monitors. Please keep in mind that others have experienced much worse. Shortly before that, I started crying before leaving for work. My heart couldn't stand it. I became a patient myself when I first came to SVT. I had to leave, otherwise my body would have made the choice for me. So I tried myself elsewhere. I worked in emergency departments, family care, and finally went into private practice. But because of everything I've left behind, new problems have arisen. I was forced to work during my illness, and they said I should use my lunch break to continue my visits. It didn't matter that most of the offices were closed for lunch. God forbid if I ask for a year's vacation ahead for my honeymoon. The answer was, "It is unacceptable to assume that you will have time for this." Yes, and some nurses are bullies. Then I heard that another former colleague had committed suicide. I've had enough. I quit my last job as a nurse. What I've learned is that wherever you go, nurses are underestimated, underpaid, especially in the southern United States, and the administration treats them like disposable nurses. What about taking care of patients on business trips? Of course, you can always earn more money if you want to sacrifice even more of your time, energy, and being for even more stressful work in an unfamiliar, understaffed environment. Nurses are expected to give everything, but receive little in return. Instead of an acceptable salary, we are given cold pizza and certificates for a job well done. We are used precisely for what led most of us into this profession, for caring. Nursing will always have a place in my heart. I earned a bachelor's degree. I have earned the title of Doctor of Medical Sciences. I've worked damn hard to get these letters and what they mean. I'm proud of the people I've helped, and I'll never forget the ones I've lost. I have nothing but respect for my fellow nurses who persevere in a job that constantly baffles them. There will always be a need for nurses, and I applaud those who succeed no matter what. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for doing what I couldn't. I'm currently studying to become an aerospace engineer. I plan to use my bachelor's degree in combination with my bachelor's degree in engineering to further enhance the safety of human spaceflight. I've only been studying for a few semesters, but I'm still amazed at the difference. Yes, it's hard, but I don't have to roll up my pants to show them that I'm wearing space socks. The most remarkable thing is that I don't see articles every week about engineers being beaten to a pulp while the industry shrugs it off. Throwaway, obviously. This is a lot to read, but I felt the need to tell my story in hopes that it can help someone. Anyone. If it helps just one nurse, it will be worth it. I am a registered nurse of 8 years. I started my career in a busy LTAC, with terrible management and ratios. I know a lot of nurses right now are facing similar situations. My message to you is, no matter how bad it gets, Don't take that pill. Don't take that vial. Don't take that patch. Let me start by saying, I know what happened to me was my fault, and I take full responsibility for it. I took on too much, too fast, and didn't speak up for myself. I know it seems like common sense for most nurses that you don't steal medications to get high on the job. I thought I knew that, but it all happened so fast I was in over my head before I knew it. There is a reason nurses have such a high rate of addiction and substance abuse. I had just been married and started my very first job out of nursing school at a LTAC in one of the best hospitals in the city. During orientation, I remember a police detective gave a presentation on medication diversion. I remember thinking only the worst people in the world would ever do that. I started night 7P7A and learned a ton that first year, getting pretty overwhelmed at times, but it was manageable. We all know how it works. The ratios get outrageous and there is no staff to come in to help. If you know LTAC, you know these people are insanely sick. It was common to have 7 patients to 1 nurse, and maybe 1 CNA to help the floor. I left every day dreading going back, sleeping terribly during the day and going right back. My drinking increased during this time to almost every day after my shift, and a lot of the day on my days off. I was smoking weed constantly and was now graduating to smoking before work, to relax. I've always had an addictive personality and did my fair share of drinking, smoking in college, but this was a new level. This continued, but somehow I was able to be the best nurse on the floor. As a guy, I definitely had some advantages. All the patients raved about me and management trusted me. I was shortly promoted to charge nurse, mostly because no one else wanted to, could do it. I should have declined, but I was too scared to disappoint. My stress increased tenfold. I was in charge of the whole floor and had an assignment most nights. This was the turning point for me. Still drinking, smoking every day, with my marriage slowly collapsing because of it. I don't remember the exact day I began, but I started with a Percocet here and there, maybe some Tramadol or even some Ativan. Maybe all 3 at the same time. I would scan PRN meds and not give them just to depress this intense anxiety I had. Just to feel nothing. That was my goal. And it worked. Not sure what elevated my use to IV drugs. I thought, hey, it's faster than pills, and I am a great stick. So why not try? I am the star nurse. Everyone loves me. They will never expect me to do this. I was taking the wasted vials of Dilaudid and morphine and pocketing them for later use. I'd even take IV Ativan if I had the chance. I'd often break vials and have to pull a new one, asking coworkers that trusted me entirely to enter their second signature. I would manipulate to get what I wanted, and I could not stop. I'd go into the bathroom on breaks and do my business, always wearing long-sleeve shirts. It was at this time I found out my wife of 2 years was having an affair. My world collapsed even more around me. I couldn't stop, and the addiction got worse. I would often use 3-4 times a shift. This went on for 2 more years roughly, and in my 4th years there, it finally ended. Not on my own accord, though. I was so fucked up one shift, a nurse I work with reported me to my boss. They pulled me into the office, requested a drug test. I declined, stating I would fail because I smoke weed, never admitted to taking pills and IVD. Escorted out of the building and put in an Uber. I woke up the next day and immediately began drinking the pain away. I had pancreatitis 4 times in this span from my drinking. Almost died with one of them. I thought it was over then. But alas, about a month later, I received a call from a police detective that specializes in healthcare worker crimes. It was the same fucking detective that gave that presentation to me years ago. No shit. I was being charged with 2 felony counts theft of drugs and 2 felony counts of altering a drug document. I was also in the middle of a dissolution of marriage. Couldn't stop drinking and smoking. My life was over. Long story short, after paying thousands for a lawyer and putting my parents through literal hell, I was able to be entered into a drug court, where if I completed the treatment, my charges would be expunged and my record sealed. The state nursing board asked me to surrender my license and did their own investigation. I complied with the advice of a lawyer. Got a DUI during this time, solidifying my judge's order for 90 days inpatient rehab. No phone, locked down unit. Surrendered myself to the county sheriff and was placed in jail overnight. A literal nightmare. Transferred to the facility from there and did all 90 days. After completion of that, I was ordered 1 year of outpatient rehab, 3 sessions a week. Heavily drug tested the entire process. Never failed once. I graduated the program almost exactly 1.5 years after the arrest. Record sealed, no charges. I had a second chance and I was sober. It saved my life. Now, I wanted my license back. I had to be a nurse again. I felt I owed it to myself to prove that I could. All in all, after meetings with the board and my lawyer, I managed to be put into a consent agreement with the state that would allow me to practice again. With many limitations and stipulations, of course. 3 years total. Call in every single day to see if I need to go drop urine, hair, blood, anything they want. Approval to work anywhere. Narcotic restriction for 1 year. Quarterly performance reviews from my boss and permanent restrictions. I worked hard to get a job in a dialysis clinic. Safe. Not around controlled substances. A more structured environment. Explaining myself to them was so hard, but I convinced them to take a chance on me. Today I am sober. I have had a job for 1.5 years with a recent promotion. I have 1.5 years left in my consent agreement. I have my life back. I would definitely be dead right now if I was not caught. I have my own apartment, a dog, and my family and friends are so proud of me. I am insanely lucky. This basically turned into a novel. And if you didn't read it all, I understand. But I pray that it helped someone like me, even if it was just one person. I am forever an addict, and I would be lying if I said I don't think about drinking every day or that I don't have dreams of shooting Dilaudid. I will not let it win. Addiction is the most cunning disease there is. I have to still take it one day at a time. Thank you so much for reading if you did. This was something I had to write out for therapeutic reasons as well. I am so ashamed of myself, but I am also very proud of what I have gotten back. Take a break, quit your job, do whatever you have to do for your well-being. Don't make the same mistakes I did.